This is my Realacc X210 quadcopter. This comes as a kit from Banggood, and I have a build video on how to put this together. And I made that because there weren't any good instructions that came with it. You kind of just have to know what you're doing to put it together. Anyway, a lot of people have built this kit and it's been very popular. This thing uses 2205 motors and they're 2600 kV. The 2600 kV I think make for an extremely powerful motor. For the first time ever, I'm using these white propellers. I've never used white ones before. They've always been red. But I got these from Mid-America Multi-Rotor in a prize package where he sponsored a race, so check out them, they're pretty cool. Also, I got this little landing battery protector thing here. You can take off flat like this so your quadcopter takes off straight, or you can lean on the battery, the thing like this, and it can take off at a 25-degree angle. This came from Thingiverse, from Skull and Drones. It's pretty awesome too. Anyway, this is the X210, and here I have the X210 quadcopter. This is a ready-to-fly version. It's called the GX210 SP Racing F3 because it has an SP Racing F3 board in it, and it's ready to fly because it includes the receiver. And I've had this video coming for a while, but I've been mostly just flying the other one and having such a good time with it I didn't even want to take this one out of the package. The big difference between this one and the kit is this one uses 2300 kV motors, and I believe it uses 20 amp ESCs, whereas the kit comes with 30 amp ESCs. So this is essentially what the kit looks like. It comes with your quadcopter, it comes with a battery charger, and there's also, I believe, a battery in here and some propellers, and the FlySky transmitter looks like this. It's an FSI 6. This is kind of a popular one that a lot of people use in their ready to fly kits. The only problem I have about this particular transmitter is the way it feels. Compared to my Taranis, this thing is just so thin. But if you don't have a Taranis and you're getting one for the first time, you'll probably think this is pretty nice. It actually works real well. We have quite a few people that use this at our races, and it has plenty of distance on the transmitter. I've never seen anybody actually outrun this, and I've never outran my Taranis either, so I guess we don't fly far enough to have problems. So here's everything you get with the kit. Of course, you get the GX210 quadcopter, you get the FlySky FSI 6, you also get a 3-cell 1500 milliamp hour battery, and this one says it's rated for 25C, so it's actually pretty low on the C ratings. This is probably going to get puffy the first couple times I fly it. It also comes with a battery strap connector here that goes on the bottom of the quadcopter. You have to connect it up to the battery here, and this is just to give a little bit of protection to the battery. It comes with these little foam pads that you stick on here so that you have something to land on, you know, instead of just landing directly on this. It also came with this little carbon fiber wrench. This is kind of cool. It fits the prop nuts just fine and lets you be able to tighten them up. It also has a key ring holder so you can put on your key ring. Awesome. I have one on mine. It also comes with 4 red props and 4 black props, so that way you have an extra set. It also comes with this B3 charger. The only problem I see with this B3 charger is it charges 1 cell, 2 cell, or 3 cell. So you won't be charging your 4 cell batteries. This quadcopter, I believe, and I'm going to try it, I believe this can run on 4 cell just fine. It has the 20 amp ESC motors on here like I was guessing that it did, and it also has the different kind of motors. These are still 2205 motors, but they are 2300 kV instead of 2600 like on the ones I got with my kit. Also, you can see here it has the flight board here with the power distribution board down below, and it also has this giant receiver stuck inside there with the video transmitter up on top. The camera is not an FS1177 camera. It's just I don't know, probably some kind of generic camera, and it's mounted with this little plastic mount here that bends so you can adjust the angle of your camera. That's a little loose, I'll have to tighten that up. And it's set up on these little spacers to give a little bit of height to it. I guess, I don't know why you would need height there, except for maybe just to help clear stuff back inside here, because you can see the connectors, the 2 connectors right there are getting kind of close together. But I'm going to put this the rest of the way together, and we'll take it out and do a little flying with it. Back here on the back, you can see that it has all these connections going into the receiver, and this looks like it's using PWM instead of S-Bus or PPM. So that'll be, that's okay, but I'd prefer something like S-Bus or PPM. Also, I got to figure out some way to mount these antennas up out of the way, probably use some zip ties. And here's the transmitter antenna, and if you want to know, it's using RP SMA on both ends. It's not SMA. It's RP SMA. Let me get this put together a little bit more and we'll compare it against the X210 kit. This is the GX210 and this is the X210. And from this angle, the frames look very similar. But if we pull them up and look at them a little bit closer, you can tell that the top plates are a little bit different. There you go. You can kind of tell they're a little bit different. This one has a few extra holes back here in the back. Also up here in the front, it has this top plate. On the X210, this top plate pushes into the sides. However, on here, it's just kind of wedged in here. So if you can actually pop this out of here like that pretty easily, which means that you could lose it pretty easily too. I'm not really sure why they wouldn't make that so it was held in place like with some holes in the sides instead of just being laid down in there flat. But that's how it is. So that's what you get. Also, the spacers here are a little bit taller than what's included on the X210 kit, and I bet that's just because this taller receiver, or this little bit bigger receiver, it requires that, you know, a little bit more space. Also, one other thing that you might need to know is that this video transmitter up here is held in place by the little SMA connector back here, the RP SMA connector. There's no other zip tie or foam tape or anything holding that in place. When I started tightening this nut up, this thing started just spinning right out. So I might end up putting another zip tie around this just to help hold it in place. That's another big difference. Also, this includes LEDs that come down here on the bottom of the arms so that you can see it a little bit better when you're doing night flying or whatever, or if you're racing, you'll look like this to the people in front of you or behind you, and they'll be able to see those LEDs shining a little bit more than, well, they'll see it a lot more than nothing. Also, it'll look cool to the people who are spectating and watching you race, because this is supposed to be a racing quad. Also on this quadcopter, down here on the bottom, there's nothing that holds this battery in it. It can slip out pretty easily unless you really crank down on the battery strap. But also the bigger problem, besides slipping out, is that it has, as it's sitting in here, it's resting on these screws. And so when you come into land and you hit the ground hard, it's going to put a lot of pressure on this battery, and it's going to go right to these screws, and you're going to start getting dents in your battery. Well, on my X210, I bought some of this little sticky pad thing here from twistedquads.com, and I'll have a link to this in the description because I think it's so awesome. But it comes in a big piece, and you cut off just what you need, and then it's a little bit sticky. And if it ever gets dirty and gets to be not sticky, you just get it wet, and then it gets sticky again. And what it does is it helps hold this battery in so that it doesn't want to slide out of here, because this little plastic little landing lipo protector, it gives no grip to it. So yeah, you need something in here. You definitely need something in here to help hold this battery in there, because you don't want it slipping out. Alright, so I'm going to get this battery charged up. I'm going to get a 4-cell battery charged up, and just for grins, I'll get a 2-cell battery charged up. We'll take this out to the flying field and see how well it performs on each of those batteries. I'm out here with the GX210. One thing I didn't check was if the transmitter comes bound to it. I hope it does, because if it doesn't, I didn't bring the bind plug, and I'm not real familiar with this transmitter, so we'll see. Hopefully this works okay. I'll turn this on first. All right, this is ready to go. Oh, it's bound. It just made a little beeping sound. Has blue LEDs on the top, the front, and red ones on the back. And I have no idea how this is going to react, so we'll see. Kind of excited about this. Okay, it is bound, and it did arm by pushing it down right. This is all new, so here we go. Oh, arm it again. All right, here we go. Well, the sticks are extremely docile. If you're planning on doing flips, you better plan on flipping high, because this thing is not very sensitive at the moment on these sticks. And this 3-cell battery is not real responsive. Well, actually, it's not really that bad. It's not bad. I can tell they're 2300 motors pretty easily, just because of how fast they're not spinning. Also, I can tell this is a 3S battery, but it's not too bad. It has plenty of punch out on it, especially for a bind and fly. This thing is actually a lot of fun. I'm anxious to see how it flies on a 2-cell. Here we go, punch out. It kind of, I don't think it's struggling a little bit to go fast. But that's because I'm used to my 2600 kV motors. All the sticks are dialed way down on this. Let's see if I can find the auto level switch. So yeah, down left disarms the motor, down right arms it. And this is actually pretty nice. I didn't try the FPV gear. Let me get this thing on. Shade lights on one more time. Kind of cool. Let me get this unplugged. I don't know how drained the battery is. I don't think there doesn't seem to be any buzzer on here for low voltage. And I don't have a low voltage alarm on this either, obviously. But this seems to be doing pretty well. I couldn't find any auto level on this transmitter. I switched all the channels and none of them did the auto level. I even turned the dials and they didn't do auto level. So I don't think there's any auto level on this quad enabled by default. That kind of stinks for the new people that are just learning, because you really want that auto level, at least on the first couple of flights, to make sure that you know what you're doing. I didn't lose the top plate, didn't fall out, it didn't crash, so that's a plus. Let me get a 2-cell on here and we'll see how this performs with a 2-cell battery. So it lights up on 2-cell. Hopefully this thing flies. The 2300 kV motors are kind of slow for 2-cell batteries. I know my 2600 kV motors fly just fine on 2-cell. We'll try this one. Oh yeah, it flies. The tuning feels real good for 2-cell also. Here we go, punch out. Oh, the LED, it's such a low voltage, the front blue LEDs aren't powering on. Now I did learn recently that red LEDs actually take less power to turn on than blue ones. So the blue ones aren't even turning on right now because it has too low a voltage. Yeah, you can see only the red ones are on. It's flyable on 2-cell, and if you have young kids and they're just learning to fly and you're scared of this thing flying away, put a 2-cell on it. This thing ain't going nowhere fast. All right, here we go. 4-cell, here we go. I'm excited about this. Also, one other thing to note, it doesn't have, or the motors don't spin when you arm it. So last time I talked to the diatone people, they said that was a safety feature for them. Real ACC probably thought the same thing. Arm it, it doesn't spin up. You gotta, where's the quad? There it is. I arm it, there we go. I arm it and the quad doesn't spin up. So you have to arm it and then take off. Here we go. Oh yeah. I can already tell this thing has a lot more power to it. All right, here we go. I'll bring it up close. It has more power than a 3-cell, but it's not spectacular like those 2600 kV motors. I compare everything to those 2600s. Oh, this would be impossible flying if it wasn't for those LEDs to be LEDs on the arms. Oh, the yaw is still spinning. Here, we'll give a countdown. 1 full yaw spin, full yaw. Here we go. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It takes 5 seconds to do a yaw spin on this. 5 seconds. That thing is slow. You better, if you've been flying quadcopters, you're gonna need to speed up your rates a lot. So, this thing flying on 2-cell, 3-cell, or 4-cell, I didn't notice anything bad about the tuning. The thing flew real nice on all 3 different sizes of batteries. In fact, I would say you pretty much need 0 tuning on this quad. Now, if you're used to faster rates, or you want to do flips, that kind of stuff, you're gonna have to go and load this up to beta flight or clean flight, whatever's installed on it, because I don't know, haven't hooked it up yet. But whatever's on it, you're gonna have to go in there and increase the rates dramatically, because this thing's probably doing, I'd say, 30 to 40 foot flips. It needs a lot of time to circle all the way around. Now on the X210 kit, I took that and I cranked up the default rates in beta flight are high enough that you can do probably about 4 foot flips pretty easily, maybe even shorter, depending on how you flip. But 4 foot flips in beta flight defaults, this is doing like 40 foot flips by default. The GX210 comes with FPV system already built into it. It has a 200 milliwatt video transmitter back here in the back with a 90-degree RPSMA adapter on there, so it points straight up. The advantage of that is having your antenna up like this, it's not going to have a tendency to fall down into the props very easily. You're going to have a bad crash to make it do that. Also up here in the front, this is not an HS1177 style camera. It's just a normal camera that's mounted on this little pivot mount, and that allows you to move the camera a little bit like this when you are flying. Now my adapter back inside here, I don't know if you can see it, but on the back of the camera, it has that little adapter, and when I got mine, it was broken, but it still holds in okay. I did fly it a little bit ago just to make sure that it was gonna work. It flies fine. I think it'll be okay. If I get too worried about it, I may put a little hot glue on there to help hold it in place. Now it does have the camera mount holes here. You can kind of see it there. It has the mount holes for HS1177 style camera if you get one of those later. Anyway, let's get some FPV footage. Sure was shaky. I think it's even worse since I tightened up the nut. Well, anyway, I got these 50-40 by 3 props on now, not 50-45s or 50-40s, and we'll see how these do. Hopefully they do real well. We'll see. With 3 blade props, this thing has a lot more punch to it. I could really feel it taking off a lot faster with the, especially when I was accelerating up real high, real fast. Also, when I was doing those flips, that's as fast as it goes. And again, I'm just talking about the defaults. You can go in and you can increase it. But by default, those flips take about 2 to 3 seconds to get around, so you don't want to do those close to the ground. Also, this transmitter, here we go. This fly sky, it held its own. I think this thing did real well. I didn't have any problems with it. I got nothing bad to say about this transmitter. But on this one though, the 2300 kV motors just aren't enough for me anymore. But I think this is a great starter quad. If you've never flown anything before, this isn't a bad one to try to start with, especially since you don't have to put any of this together. It came out of the box, it was already bound by default. I didn't have to know anything about binding or building to put this together. The only downside for new people flying this, there's no auto level, and I wish there was. I tried flipping all the switches on here, and I couldn't find it. If there is one, I don't know what it is, but it's not one of the switches because, like I said, flipped them all. So anyway, this is the GX210, brother to the X210 that you got to custom build yourself, and I got to build a video for that if you're interested. But this is a GX210. This is actually pretty nice. I like it. It's not gonna be my favorite racing quad for me, but you know, for a lot of people, this is gonna be a great quad to start with. It has a cool look, LEDs on the bottom, looks awesome, flies great, needs no tuning. Anyway, if you have any questions about this that I didn't cover, let me know in the comments down below. I will try to help you out as best I can. And as always, thanks for watching. Oh, that wasn't high enough.